Hag Sameach, I'm Leah Koenig, and welcome to my Brooklyn kitchen. I am thrilled to be here today with JDC Cooking for Hanukkah. JDC is the leading global Jewish humanitarian organization, saving Jewish lives and building Jewish life around the world. JDC has been around since 1914 and today is operating in 70 countries worldwide. My family typically cooks latkes for Hanukkah, but more recently we have started making Mele Fritte, which are fried apples that come from Rome's Jewish community. And I'm going to be sharing a recipe that comes from my cookbook, Portico, Cooking and Feasting in Rome's Jewish Kitchen. So typically I think of apples as a Rosh Hashanah ingredient, but the Jews of Rome also had this wonderful dish that they served for Hanukkah. And it takes apples and you slice them, batter them, and fry them until they're very custardy and appley and sweet on the inside and then light and airy on the outside. The original recipe was inspired by a cookbook that I found when I was researching Portico that was written in the 1980s and was written by a woman who loved to cook. And she had all these wonderful handwritten recipes that were from her family. And it was a huge source of inspiration while I was working on Portico, and she served these apples for Hanukkah. So I figured now I have to do that also. The Roman Jewish community dates back over 2,000 years. The first Jews who came to Rome were actually emissaries of the Maccabees, which makes it perfect for the Hanukkah season. Their cuisine is really unlike any other Jewish cuisine I have ever experienced. And it's partly because the community is so old, it actually predates the formation of Ashkenazi and Sephardi culinary traditions, so it's very much its own thing. And one of the things that Roman Jews love to do more than anything is fry foods. So it's really like Hanukkah all year round. They fry things like artichokes and other vegetables and fish and cheese, and they really just fry anything they can. But today we're going to be making Mele Fritte, which are their fried apples. To get started, we have apples, and we're going to peel them and core them. And basically what we're trying to do is just remove any of the seeds and kind of pith from the inside, which is not delightful to eat. I will say this is a wonderful recipe if you have apples that have a little bit of a brown spot on them, because you won't see it once it's battered and fried, and you won't taste it either. I am not originally from Rome. My family is from Lithuania, Russia, and Germany. So I am very much an Ashkenazi Jew. But when I first got married, my husband and I traveled to Rome for our honeymoon, and I was a young food writer at the time, and I ended up writing a couple of stories about Roman Jews. As a part of that, I had a Shabbat dinner with a Roman Jewish kosher caterer, and nothing on the table was familiar to me that he served. It was all, traditional Roman Jewish stews and a lot of braises. So it was really different than the latkes and the brisket and things that I grew up eating and the noodle kugel. But because it felt so homey and it felt so much in the context of Shabbat, I immediately felt familiar with these foods. And for me, it was one of those moments where I realized that Jewish food is so diverse and so broad and so deep that I could spend my professional life helping to tell the stories and the history behind it. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to core, I'm going to save that for a snack. You're going to core the apples, and you can do that a couple of different ways. This is actually a zucchini corer or a vegetable corer, and Roman Jews use this to make stuffed zucchini. But all it really does is it gets into the core of a fruit or a vegetable and makes this like lovely little thing you can pull out with the seeds. If you don't have that, you can also use like a sturdy, this is a measuring teaspoon, but any sort of sturdy metal spoon can help you get the core out. What you're basically trying to do is make a hole right through the middle so that when you slice it, you'll have rings. But this is really the best tool for it, and they're like $10 at a kitchen store, if that. So they're worth getting. And it doesn't have to be perfect, like a perfect hole. We're not aiming for perfection here or really ever in my kitchen. I like to say, like, as long as you're having fun, you're doing it right. You basically want to just make sure that all of the seeds are out. So I'm happy with that. Once you have your apples cored, we're just gonna slice them, and you're aiming for like between 1/4 and 1/2 of an inch thick. You want them to hold up when they cook, but you don't want them too thick so that they don't really kind of cook through. And again, we're not talking perfection here. We're just talking these nice little homey looking rings. So now we're gonna move on to the batter for our apples, and Roman Jews like to make a really thick batter when they're frying things. I like it a little bit lighter, but you can kind of choose what you prefer. For this recipe, we need 1½ cups of regular all-purpose flour, and we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 1/4 teaspoon each of kosher salt and baking soda. Do not leave out the baking soda. It adds such a nice brownness to the batter when it fries. It's a tiny amount, but it really makes a difference. And we're just gonna whisk that all together. And then, this is so simple. Anybody could do this. Like, it's a good thing to do with kids, with even, you know, if you're new to frying, it's a really good place to start. We're gonna add 1½ cups of milk, which is an equal amount to the flour. You might need to adjust it a tiny bit, but it usually comes out just right. And so what we're basically looking for is a nice sort of thick but runny batter that will cling to the apples, but not kind of conceal them too much. That looks about right to me. Now that we have our batter ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and heat up some oil to fry the apples. Typically, Roman Jews fry everything in olive oil, but I find that it has a lower smoke point, so it heats up really quickly and it can start smoking in your kitchen. So I prefer a neutral flavored oil like a sunflower oil or something like that. I just want to take a minute to talk about JDC's role in Rome, which is a city that I love dearly. Before and during World War II, JDC helped Jews leave Italy and escape persecution, and JDC provided vital aid to both refugees and Italian Jews. After the war, JDC supported people in displaced persons camps in Italy with life-saving aid. JDC also worked to revitalize Italy's Jewish community, supporting schools and youth programs. Decades later, Jewish refugees from the former Soviet Union spent weeks to months in Rome and were aided by JDC while en route to their new homes. Today, Italy's Jewish community is self-sustaining and a proud partner to JDC, working together to foster Jewish life and cultivate the next generation of Jewish leaders. And now back to the cooking. Our oil is heated to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and so we are going to batter and fry our apples. I like to do this a couple of apples at a time. I basically put them in that beautiful thick batter that we made and just give them a quick little turn so that they are fully coated, and let the excess drip off. And then we are going to plop them into our oil. They should sizzle as soon as they go in the oil. And we are gonna just let those cook for about 2 minutes per side. When you're frying, you wanna make sure you don't overcrowd the pan, because that can lead to things sort of steaming instead of getting that nice crispy brownness. So 3, 4, maybe 5 max in a 12-inch pan is the way to go. When your apples are ready to turn, they're going to be kind of brown on the underside, and they're going to see little bits of like puff all around the edges. This is actually looking pretty good. So we're just going to use 2 forks or tongs or whatever you want to flip them over. And you'll see they kind of look like a cross between a pancake and a donut. Actually, a lot of people think that they are donuts when I am serving them, and they're really excited by the kind of custardy apple inside. They fry really quickly, as you can see. Something I really like about this recipe is that it's really rustic and homey, and a lot of Roman Jewish cooking is very homey, and it's not fancy, but it really makes you feel comforted and taken care of when you're cooking it and eating it. And as soon as you have a nice golden brown on both sides, again, you can see the baking soda is giving it that nice color. We're just going to use either a slotted spoon or a spatula to lift them out gently. And you can just put them right on a plate, or you can line it with paper towels to drain a little bit. I find if you're frying at the right heat, around 350 degrees, they don't really soak up a lot of oil, so you don't necessarily need the paper towel. In my family, I don't really fry a lot of foods year-round, so Hanukkah really is our time to shine and time to fry. And in my family, we really like to fry all sorts of different things. We do fried pickles, we've done fried olives, because both of my kids really love briny foods. We obviously make latkes, but we try at least a few nights out of the holiday to make sure we're like eating fried foods and sitting down as a family. Now that we have our beautiful Mele Fritte, our fried apples, we're gonna dress them up a little bit. You can either use cinnamon sugar. Traditionally, Roman Jews use vanilla sugar, which is sugar steeped with vanilla pods, but the way I like to serve them is just with regular powdered sugar. So I have a little mesh sieve, and I'm gonna put a little sugar in there and then just dust it right over the top, like snow. And then these are ready to serve to your friends and family. So here we have our Mele Fritte, or fried apples, from my book Portico. And I hope you follow along with JDC on social media so you can keep up with all of their life-saving work, and have a wonderful, happy Hanukkah. From Rome and Brooklyn with love.